Hi everyone, welcome to the new year. I would put off wanting to do this video for a while in the past month because doing a top 10 is going to be very difficult for me because if somebody's favorite character isn't there, then they get all mad. But I just want you to preface that I only started collecting these figures just this year, so all the figures are new to me, even the ones at the very beginning. So when I'm going through my top 10, you're going to see older figures that you're like, well, we already know about that. But for me, it's not. And maybe, for posterity, those who start collecting late in the game like I did might find this useful. And also wanted to show off, someone gave me this for Christmas in a Secret Santa. It's Snake Eyes' sword. Yeah, boy. But for practical purposes in Kendo, this becomes a problem because you really can't get in and do the grip, so you're almost permanently locked in this position anytime you want to get to a strike. But still pretty good. This thing's made of metal and this part's made of plastic, but you know what? You're not here for that in this review. You're here for the top 10 G.I. Joe. Hello and welcome to my end of the year top 10 G.I. Joe list. Now, these are going to be figures that I particularly like so far. Like from its very beginning, I've collected just about every figure that has come out. I only started just this past year in 2022. And out of all of them, I'm going to go through the top 10 favorite figures that have been released so far. Some of these might surprise you. Some of them might not. And some of you are like, dude, why? Well, just 'cause. So there's that. So without further ado, let's start with number 10 on the list. Voila! It's Barbecue. Now, you might be saying, but why? I don't like Barbecue. Well, I'm sorry. He was one of my favorite figures that came out when I was a kid, and the fact that they even bothered to release him with this measure of detail is incredible to me. I mean, there's no borrowing of any of the sculpt. It's all more or less original sculpt. He's got tons of accessories, more than he did than he came out with when I was a kid. So for me, that's he's just an incredible figure. Heavily detailed. He doesn't get much use. You don't see too many people doing photography with him, and I'm guilty of that as well. So at some point I'm going to have to get around to do something with him because he is one of my favorites. As if I'm not foreshadowing who's going to be in the number 9 spot here, right? I'm so bad at this. Oh my God. Anyway, so let's move on to number 9. And voila, it's Croc Master. Yes, sirree bib. One of my other favorite Joes when I was a kid. Loved to play with the big, strong guys, beating the crap out of people and throwing them around. Playing them like they was a rag doll, yo. Anyway, again, amazed that they came out with this particular character so early on and with a massively huge alligator to go with it and little baby alligators and tons of accessories, everything from a whip to guns to the hook. I mean, you name it. Just they faithfully recreated this character for me. He's absolutely detailed. I mean, just even right down to the little breathing apparatus that he has. The scales on the chest plate are, again, to bother to spend so much detail. Look at the back. I mean, that's some insane sculpting right there. And the paint apps, like even putting the little crocodile eye on his belt, if that ever shows up. But yeah, and that just evil face. They did an amazing job. Just an amazing job. So that's my number 9. All right. And now we shall prepare for number 8. That's right. We're going to look at the number 8 pick. And is it a Cobra? I wonder. Skadoosh! It's Destro. So, yeah, bit of a story here. I never originally bought Destro in the store. I went to a playground when I was a little kid, and I brought my Joes with me, and I was playing around and was digging in the sand, and I found Destro buried at the park in the sand, and I was like, bonus! So, yeah, had me a Destro just because I happened to find him as buried treasure. And I loved that character. And I think they did, once again, absolutely phenomenal job with recreating this character, right down to, the type of chrome on his head. I can't rightly tell if it's what kind of chrome plastic it is, but it definitely brings on the reflections better than you would want to expect. When you get these kind of weird, intricate, interesting accessories with him, you get his original gun with the paint app. I also have the retro carded version, and I do like it as well, but I think this particular updated version works really well. And you know what? Now that I'm looking at that silly golden gun, I really need to replace that with a better gun. But anyway, so that is Destro, my. All right, looks like we're moving on to number 7 in the list. Who is it to be? Looks like it's going to be a Joe. Which one will it be? Because there's not very many of them. Oh, I done pulled a fast one on you. It's a Tiger Force. Tiger Force Outback is my number 7 going into this list. I originally did not want this character. I did not collect the Tiger Force series when I was younger, so I really wasn't interested in this character, and seeing as how difficult it was with Target and all that other nonsense, I was like, you know what? Washing my hands of him. And then, voila, he became available, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Okay. And then when I got him in hand, it was like, yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. I love the expressions, the articulations, even still to this day of all the figures, he's one of the more articulated in the head, the hips. I mean, he's just really just overall one of the best figures I've seen in a long time. In this particular series. One of the greatest, and I've done some customizations. I honestly couldn't stomach that rubbery gun. It's a shame. So I kind of made my own out of a Valaverse gun and kind of sewed together a strap. It's a bit clumsy, but at the end of the day, he's everything's homebrew with him. Why not, right? Yes, I don't get my weapons stock. I make them. Because he's badass. All right, we're looking at number 6 on the charts. This time it's gonna be Cobra. And who is it? It's the Battle Android Trooper. Yeah. Again, another of my absolute favorite figures that they made back in the day. I loved all the little accessories, which I very quickly lost. Because, little kid, always going to be playing. They not only recreated it about as faithfully as I think it's possible to recreate, but with such incredible details. And I've augmented mine, obviously, as you can tell. I've did some Jay's Armory, has these cool chest plates that are see-through, but look lentacular, if I can actually get it to show up. Sorry, I've got the brightness tweaked on this because it looked too dark, so I apologize if it's overly bright. I also got a Gridiron Studios Vector, just because it brings out more uniformity in them. But again, with the details, the articulation, things like that, it's just faithfully recreated. Absolutely incredible army builder. And of course, there's the Python version and soon to be the Crimson version. And and I bet there'll be even more versions by the time it's all said and done. Okay, now we're on to number 5, the Big 5. Who's it going to be? Well, folks, you see the blue star just like me. It's gonna be Joe.
And to no surprise, yeah, probably to everybody's surprise, it's Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah, again, another one of my favorite characters back in the day. Just absolutely loved having him beating the poop out of people and throwing folks around. It was definitely one of my faves, and I think they recreated him about near perfectly. He's my favorite out of the releases thus far in terms of Sergeant Slaughter, even though I only really have like 3. Again, the accessories. I know some people didn't like him, some people did like him, but I love the little tiny miniature figure. That was such an incredible touch. They did not have to do. I know nobody asked for it. Well, sometimes the really great stuff isn't something you needed to ask for because you didn't know you wanted it until you're holding it in your little hands. But yeah, everything that he comes with, he's just the perfect, intimidating drill instructor for Joe. Now, I, of course, was forced to augment mine slightly by painting his trapezoids. So I'm probably not going to be able to get on there. Because the paint job on him was bad, super bad. But now he's perfect. And I even bought another one just so I could see if it had a better paint job. And guess what? It didn't. So I will keep it in the package. There's no point. Okay, it's time for number 4. What will it be? You see the red cobra just like me. So, you've got 3 guesses, and the first 3 don't count. And voila! What is it? It's the Cobra Officer. Now you're like, dude, why are you picking that one? I mean, that's like low-hanging fruit. Well, once again, as a kid, my very first G.I. Joe, when I saw them on the pegs, back when I was like, 4, this was the very first G.I. Joe figure I picked up. I said, oh my God, look at that silver cobra. Must have. Mommy, can you buy this? Yes. So, got this guy home and quickly managed to rub off that silver cobra in like no time. It was ruined, destroyed, if you will. But you know what? This figure has no right to be as awesome as it is. It not only has all the articulation you've come to expect and tons of accessories, including the hat, but check this action out. So he's one of the few Joes that has forearm swivel. Check this. Yep, forearm swivel. Only one of 2 Joes have it. And I'm not going to tell you what the other one is, but it might be one of the top ones. And who shall take the number 3 spot? Why, it will be a Joe. Boom! Sergeant Stalker. Now, I have to admit, like when I first saw Sergeant Stalker's promo photos, I wasn't sure that I wanted him because back in that particular time when I was first starting out, I was going to limit the number of figures I was going to get, and then, I lost my damn mind and, bought them all. But once I got this figure in hand, I was like, oh my gosh, incredible. Just the smoothness of the joints, for me, it's the subtle nature of the camo. I personally absolutely love the colors. I love the kind of retro look to him. He's like, the ranger in the field, He's, what is he from Lord of the Rings? He is the future king. I'm sorry, guys. My brain's gone. Too much New Year's punch into the brain. Anyway, that guy. So, Striker. I know that's probably not right. Strider. There we go. He's like Strider. He's invisible when he wants to be. But I love all the details. There's just an incredibly detailed figure. The face, it's just this mean, no F's given look to his face. The beret. He's part of the beret club. I love everything about this figure is just absolutely incredible to me. And the joints smooth as butter on this guy. Absolutely adore it. One of my favorites. And I wasn't expecting him to be a favorite, but he's one of my top 3. There you have it. He was number 3, so who in the world's going to be number 2, right? Number 2, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be sitting at the second spot? I don't know. Let's find out. Come on, son. Did you really think he wasn't gonna make the list? Really? Really? Were you expecting him to be number one? I know you were, but nope. Number 2 on this list. I think he would have been number 1 if he didn't have like overly ridiculous stiff joints and the fact that his cape tucks in very nicely into the joints and freezes them up. But you know what, though? He is one of the most incredible 1/12 figures that I even have, period. I mean, not just for the absolute ridiculous awesomeness that is the Chariot, but even just the figure has just the most insane levels of detail. And just getting these scales the way they did it, and the cape, just an absolute monster of a figure. I don't even have words. That's how awesome he is. He is my number 2 pick of like all time, and you know what? It's a good bet. No one's going to knock him off that seat anytime soon. But sadly, there is one other figure that will knock him off that Chariot. So sorry. And now, the number 1 figure of my favorite top 10 ever, and it's gonna be Cobra. La 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 la. Surprised? Really? No? Yes? Maybe a little bit? Who knows? You know what? Let's just get to it. Because besides, we all know you click to the end anyway, and just click through and said, "Oh, where's the number 1 spot? I just want to see the number 1 spot, and then I can skip this video." Well, you know what? You're about to hit it. It's Storm Shadow. Yes, all of the classified figures I've bought, all of them, this one is the best figure that Hasbro has ever made. Whoever did it loved this figure more than anyone else. They were just like, forget Snake Eyes. I know he was the best and everyone loves him and he's awesome. He was number 1. But they were just like, you know what? If we do Storm Shadow, we need to redo it better than the one that we made with as an Amazon exclusive. That thing, as neat and interesting as it is, it's kind of garbage in terms of figure and articulation because it just had issues. It had issues it was dealing with. But with Storm Shadow, not only is Storm Shadow incredibly articulating, whatever you want to call it, pinless. He's one of the first pinless jointed folk, and just like the other guy, the Cobra Officer, he is the only other Joe with swivel forearm. Hold on, check it. Yes, that's right. He has more points of articulation than any other Joe other than the Cobra Officer. And not only that, he has no loose joints. He's got tons of accessories, incredible playability. That's why, if you're wondering where all this nonsense comes from, this comes from the Master of Disguise Zartan. And but it obviously fits with him so much better. Anyway, that's it, guys. That is my absolute number 1 pick of all of GIJoe Classified. But you know what, though? This video's not over yet. And you want to know why it's not over yet? Because we're going to move on to honorable mentions. All right, let's just take a look at the honorable mentions. These are the ones where we're kind of like, where do I go? Where do I put them? I don't know. One of them is going to be Snake Eyes. Now, I have kit bashed this Snake Eyes into all kinds of pieces. I mean, you can see he's got kind of got the different head going on. If it ever focuses. Come on, bro. You can do it. There you go. That's a good camera. Who's a good camera? Nope. Now you're a bad camera. Bad camera. Come on, son. This is like a $1,800 camera. Come on, son, get it together. Anyway, he's got the gray head that comes from the Master of Disguise Zartan, because the original version of this character back in the 80s had a gray visor. And then I swapped out the bandolier for the the version 2 Commando with Timberwolf. Same thing with the belts and the straps. And then I kind of made a wrist arrow shooter out of the wristband of the original release of Gung Ho, because, when I was never going to use that. Forget it. So anyway, that's honorable mention numero uno. And speaking of other honorable mentions, I'm going to have to go with Master of Disguise Zartan. I love the figure. He's incredible. It comes with an insane amount of accessories, and all of them are awesome, straight up. And even what really kind of knocks it down a notch or two for me is, even though I love the fact that he does color change, but it's in cold weather. What? I mean, really? You couldn't find the original recipe for the plastic that changes in the sun? Was it going to be too brittle? I would really like to know the story on why they opted to go with plastic that changes in, sub-freezing temperatures, as if that's not even a playable thing. I don't even know how you would even use it. But because of that, it knocks down a notch. And, technically he's not the most original in the color spectrum. I know they're coming out with that, and I missed out on it. So that'll be one figure I don't get. So sorry, so sad. Oh no. So moving on. Gonna go with Crimson Guard. Again, incredible figure. Really wanted him to be in the top spot for me, but because of the weird joint issues and slightly rubbery weapons, kind of just put it off for me. But ultimately, it is an incredible figure. I now have 5 of them with a 6th one on the way. Are you kidding me? No, I am not. So I do love the figure. It was one of my favorite figures when I was a kid, and it was really hard struggle of where to put him in terms of in the pantheon of top 10. And I know he would have loved. I know a lot of people would have put him easily in their top 10. I wanted to, I really did, but there were so many other good figures that I just had to be like, gotta make a choice, and that was mine. You're probably noticing a theme that, a lot of these are Cobra. Yeah, I know. Sorry. The other honorable mention is Major Blood. Now, for the longest time, he was one of the best when I got him. I was like, oh my God. Somebody really put in the design work on this guy. I mean, just incredible. An entire robotic arm, this massive gun that he normally has. I switched it out with a Valaverse gun. The dog, my God, I was about to say dog whistle, but they're the dog tags, and a helmet that matches the rest of the troops. I found him to be incredible, and the head sculpt on it is unbelievable. All right, and so the next honorable mention goes to Dr. Mindbender. Again, another one of these like insane, incredible sets that they came out with, and he is faithfully, recreated in my opinion. Just the details, I would have expected this armband, for example, to just be something you slip on or whatever. I didn't expect it to be like a permanent sculpt on him. And I was actually kind of hoping that he would get the wrist or the forearm swivel, but he did not. But be that as it may, he's still just an insanely incredible figure, and he's one of my favorites. And what drops him out of the spot was the black smears that occur because of the cape. And I thought, you know what, that's messed up, yo. And anyway, there's 2 more honorable mentions. The next one is yet another Snake Eyes, but this is the Commando version. I did like that they kind of went back to the kind of ski mask looking, riot gear looking look, but they just loaded him out. I mean, he's just a absolute beast. He just looks thick, armory. Like, you know what? Don't mess with him. He's just going to kick your face in, and then he would laugh. But of course, he doesn't laugh. So it would be this silent kicking of your face in. But anyway, he's I even though he's basically Beachhead with a different head and different armor, I still absolutely love this figure, and I think they did an insane and incredible job with it. And then the final one is, again, one that should have taken one of the top spots. Should have. And that is Zarana. Again, you know what? Let me just... This brightness issue is now getting on my nerves. Let me drop it. There we go. I really hope this video isn't ruined by the way I've adjusted the brightness. But anyway, Zarana is one of the... Again, she should have been a top contender, but the fact that they didn't affix these to the vest like they did with every other freaking figure. I mean, they even did it. They did something similar with this guy, but it gets out of the way, Or like with Zartan, they're attached to the vest, so they get out of the way. They could have done that, and it would have been. That would have just been incredible. Would have been absolutely amazing. And then, of course, the issue where the arm keeps popping off when you try to pose her. I mean, that's just unbelievably bad execution. But beyond that, an absolutely amazing figure. But you know what, guys, gals, and whomever, we've got 2023 to look forward to. So let's see how they roll out the rest. But I've got some very... I'm not looking all that optimistic based on just the weird arm issues I've had in the last wave. That seems to be carrying over, because I saw in another review for CoverGirl that she had similar issues, and I'm like, oh my God, we're just going to see this, throughout the rest of the line. I'm going to get very, very aggravated. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my top 10. I hope it didn't make too many people mad, but this is just what it is for me, and have a happy new year.
I pity the poor fool who didn't have me in their review.